We are back here on the Lynne Hayes Freeland Show. Dr. Anthony Hamlet is my guest. And even though you look at the calendar, it doesn't make sense, but I feel like we're talking about the first day of school in its own regard. So one of my questions, I guess, is as students come back, will the teachers have to kind of assess where everyone is? Because everyone's not going to be at the same place. Because some students have done well and some students not so well.
Right. And so to your point, we understand, again, this first wave of students that is returning to Pittsburgh public schools, they're roughly about 5,000 students. We know those are the most neediest students based on data, based on grades, based on attendance, based on socio-emotional survey data, and a few other factors as well. We know those are some of the most vulnerable students and neediest students. So we begin to bring them back first, so they can begin to work with the teachers. And then we have the second wave of about 4,500 coming in as well. And we definitely know that there'll be some students in needs, and there'll be students at varying levels, some high performing in the remote space, and some low performing or not accessing remote learning at all. And so we're absolutely ready to take on that challenge. We know who those kids are, and our schools, our principals, our teachers, our faculty and staff are ready to receive these students back into their buildings and really get down to work with them in person.
So are there, and I have seen more stories about this nationally than I have here. So I will say that up front in terms of here in the Pittsburgh area. But I see stories on the national news about students that literally fell through the cracks during this year, just kind of disappeared off the grid. They never logged on. Nobody knows how to get in touch with them. They sent people to the houses. People moved. Is that an issue here in Pittsburgh? Do we have some students that just fell through the slats?
Yes, we do. But we're working diligently around the clock, trying to make sure we locate those kids. Some of them might have moved out of state. Some might move to a different area location and just didn't let their schools know. But roughly about, last I checked, there are about 75 to 50 students that we were still trying to locate. But yes, it is a problem. Not by and large, not a large problem, but any one student that we can't find slipping through the cracks is a concern for us. So we want to make sure that we capture all of our students as best we can so we can support them in their learning.
And I guess and I don't want to harp on this subject at all, but one of the things when I see this story, often I feel as if we, the media, don't make allowances for the fact that people do move, that people do go away. And we just call them students that fell between the cracks without allowing for life stuff that may be different in different communities, life things that happen in different communities. And I feel like the media doesn't make allowances for that.
Absolutely. So I would agree by and part, but we try to be as transparent as we can in Pittsburgh public schools, putting our data out there and put our information out there as well. But we know that that's an issue, and not big, small percentage of students, but one like I said before, one student is not enough, right? So we want all of our students to be captured and coming to school. So, but yeah, to your point, I mean, there's life circumstances that a lot of families have moved. People have moved their jobs, lost their jobs. They move in with friends in a different city or family in a different city. So there are varying dynamics that come into play for our students.
All right. So getting back in the classrooms, one of the biggest obstacles, or at least the perception was vaccines. I feel like the teachers, and I say this full disclosure, I come from a line of educators. My son is an educator, so I'm defensive of teachers, and people will say that to me in a minute. But I feel like teachers got a bad rap throughout a lot of this, throughout their desire to get vaccinated before getting back in the classroom.
You know what? That getting vaccinated came on later on in the conversation. So in the beginning of the school year, we still had a small number of faculty and staff that had issues. The issues were child care. At that time in the fall, a lot of majority of the districts were remote or online. So what do you do with your child? So there are some valid issues. You have some concerns. Our faculty and staff were concerned, and validly so. Why? Some of them may have pre-existing health concerns. Some may be taking care of elderly parents. Various different reasons why they are concerned. And I would say, by and large, majority of our faculty and staff and our personnel were excited and ready to come back for our children, but you have some that had concerns, and those concerns were valid.
So where are you now in terms of the vaccination process? I mean, does it look like the vast majority of the teachers, the office staff, all of those folks are in line, are getting shots in arms now?
Listen, we're extremely excited. So in the very beginning, in the 1A, there were a few teachers and school psychologists and special education teachers. I think about 200. Our nurses as well. They got vaccinated in the 1A. So with the push from the Biden administration, thank you, President Biden, down to our governors, thank you, Governor Wolf, for prioritizing educators. And so last week we had about 1,400 teachers that were getting that J&J vaccination from Obama. That was pushed out by the state. Then we got a call on a Friday from Giant Eagle, and thank you to the mayor's office for referring Giant Eagle to us. So we quickly developed this partnership. They want to help. They want to begin to support school districts with being vaccinated. And so within 2 or 3 days, we had to plan and ready to go for the Thursday vaccination, mass vaccination. That was about 1,500 of our employees. Anyone who wanted to take the vaccine, they can come take it. And so again, looking at the 1,400 plus the 200 plus the 1,500 that we know about, there's also a few that have gotten it independently. We're still trying to capture that information so we can know exactly how many of our, what percentage of our faculty and staff and our personnel have been vaccinated.
So at this point, the vaccine was not mandatory, however, for staff members, for educators. What happens to people who, for whatever reason, opted not to get the vaccine? They will still be expected in the classroom.
Everyone is expected to report to work. Absolutely.
All right, we're going to take another break. When we come back, we're going to talk about this past year, whole lot of other stuff. Just stick around. We'll be right back.
We'll do.